still gonna have like about like just okay. So anyway, like yeah, you know, okay, I live with Ron, right? And you remember Ron?
Hippie Ron.
Yeah. Okay, so I was living with this motherfucker named Ron, and he was real cool and shit. Like, cause I mean, fuck, man, we kept it rolling up in that bitch for like about 2 years. Like, I'm talking about like every week, 8 balls and teeners, 8 balls and teeners every week, right, for like 2 years straight. Okay, so then we had this other dude living with us, and he's this like cross dressing like gay dude and shit, and he used to go to the park, you know, and suck dicks. Get fucked in the ass or whatever and shit. And, so finally, like, dude, seriously, this motherfucker ate some fungus, almost died. Couldn't get him out of the fucking house. Right?
What was he doing eating fungus?
That's another story. Okay?
He thought he was going to trip or something?
No, he's like, I was hungry. And I was like, oh, you was hungry, huh? All right, I wish you would have died. But anyway, motherfucker went to jail, couldn't get him out of the house. He got raped. Couldn't get him out of the house. I was like, God damn. You know what I'm saying? And then he told me that, man. I was like, you know, that's some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
You're in the backseat of a car and somebody's fucking you up the ass, and every time you go to try to get out, they hit you in the head with a gun.
You trying to leave me, bitch?
Dude. That's why I couldn't be a gay prostitute. I just couldn't do it, dude. I ain't built for that shit anyway. Alright, so anyway, Ron, we finally get him out of the house, and Ron comes by my job after he's done this shit when I was working at that pizza place. And I told him, I said, man, take your ass home. I got beer, I got weed at the house. Right? I'm like, man, we gonna go home. We gonna celebrate. We gonna tear this nigga's room fucked up. All the shit he left, we gonna tear that shit up. It's gonna be hilarious, right? So anyway, this is what happened. I get home, because I get off work early. I get home, and it's probably about 8 or 9 o'clock. I'm like, wait a minute, he should be here.
Right.
Like, where the fuck did this guy go? Right? So it gets later and later. It's probably about like 12:30. And shit, I done drunk up most of the beer. I done smoked up a bunch of weed. And I'm like, man, fuck it, he ain't come home. He must have did something else. He must have got some pussy or something, you know. But that's not the case. About 3 o'clock, 3:30, something like that, this motherfucker come through the door. Oh, man. Head big on one side, nose like bleeding, lip busted. He's like, oh, man, I'm so glad to see you. He's crying and shit, clothes all disheveled and stuff. I'm like, man, all I do, what the fuck happened? I've been waiting for you forever. I done passed down, went to sleep on you. He sits down after he fucking calls his boss and leaves this long diatribic ass message about, man, I ain't coming to work, boo. But then he finally sits down and tells me what happened to him. He's like, nigga, you got any beers, man? I was like, dude, I think there might be a couple beers left. You know what I'm saying? So I give him a beer, and then I open up a beer and I start drinking by because I don't want him to be like, and they deuces too. Deuces right. Buzz. So like, I'm like, I don't want him to ask for half of this. Fuck, go start doing that. So, fucking, he tells me this story about like, well, man, such and such called me up. I don't even remember the bitch's name. But I told him when I first met her, I said, dude, you leave that bitch on the street where you found her. And he didn't listen to me. So the next thing you know, he says that he's walking from after he comes to place. He's like, yeah, man, we gonna drink some beer, smoke some weed. He's supposed to go right home. Right? But he's old. You can't tell him nothing. Nah, man, I'm old. I do what I want.
He knows everything.
Oh, yeah, I do what I want. Right? Nigga gets a call from this bitch. Hey, what's going on? Well, I'm about to go home and drink some beer and stuff. I got beer, Ron. Magic words. I got beer, Ron. Boom. That's what did it. This motherfucker goes over to this bitch house. First thing happens when he comes through the front door. There's a couple of niggers up in there. They waiting for him. They gonna whoop his ass. So they start whooping his ass. They beat him up. He said they choked him out and beat him up. He said one nigga was choking him like that and the other dude was punching him in the stomach. He showed me the bruises and shit. So anyway, like I didn't get that far in the story. But anyway, fucking he yeah, I'm doing something right now. And I'll be up there in a minute. Damn motherfucker. How many minutes is that? Fucked up the whole tape. All right, is anyone finished telling the story?
Sorry about the interruption.
Yeah.
People.
All right. So anyway, let's keep the last rolling.
All right.
So, where was I?
He just came home and told you the story.
He got there talking about punched him in the fucking stomach. Oh shit. Something fucked up. Okay, we good. I couldn't see shit. Fuck, dude. All right. So anyway, he said that like right when he came in, they started whooping his ass, right? So then they stripped him naked, took his wallet, and you know he had Joe's credit card,
Right.
that motherfucker, and he couldn't use it. They got $27 off of it. So one nigga leaves and go get some crack and shit, and comes back.
Right.
They got a big bottle of gin, they got beer. This is what he tells me, right? And he said that at one point during the ass whooping that he was like, they had him on the ground like kneeling, and they was letting the woman beat him up. You know what I'm saying?
Same bitch that caught him over there.
Yeah, man. And this is what it's like. Seriously, like all laughing aside, man. I was genuinely like concerned about Ron and his well being. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like the story just is gonna get kind of serious. So like, you know, if you don't laugh, you know, will help me out.
Right.
All right. So anyway, he's like, you know, and then, you know, and then they like I had my hands over my head and stuff. And they told me like to take my hands away from my head. I better not cover my head while she's hitting, right? And then at one point, like then they start drinking all the gin up. They drunk all the gin and the beer and shit up, and they high on crack the dude and came back there. And I got high, except for him, and they hold him hostage at this point because he can't use the credit card, so they won't let him leave.
Real.
Yeah, that's how crackheads do you. When they smoke enough of that shit, they get paranoid. It's like you ain't going nowhere till all this crack gone.
And then the crackhead hold him hostage.
Yeah, some crackheads. Like I say, anyway, next thing you know, the woman tells him like, I wish this gin bottle was empty because I will bust this over your head, right? And then like, okay, so they start coming down off the crack and shit. Ron said he's in the corner naked with like one sock on in his drawers, and like his nose is bleeding and shit. They ain't beat him up real bad. Head big on one side, right? And the next fucking thing you know, he's like them dudes leave and shit because they know they're fucked up. Cause see, they thought he got paid that Friday. Right. That's what the funny thing is. They thought he got paid that Friday when he fucked up they game. He had no money. get paid the next Friday. See. And but I told him when he met her, I said, dude, she got white shoes on. She was in prison. Leave that bitch alone. Leave her on the street where you found her, right? So then next thing you fucking know, what's real funny is like the bitch, like, come on in the room with me, Ron. He goes in the room with her with his dumb ass, right? And she
really could have fucking ran, right?
He's like, I ain't really like that. I didn't mean to do all that to you. That made me feel bad that I did that to you, Ron. You know, I didn't mean nothing by it and shit. And I'll start kissing on him and start to him. So then the next day, you know, he finally gets his shit together. He said he ran home. He said he ran home. He said, fuck this shit. So he comes back to the house and he tells me this story. And I'm fucking ripped. I'm like, man, I'm about to go kill these motherfuckers, dog. Like the ninja sword and the suit and shit. I'm like, I'm about to go up there. So then I thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute. He went down. And I told him to go home. But I'm going to tell you right now, man, like after he told me that story and then we drank a couple beers and smoked a little bit and shit, he went in his room and went to sleep. Because he couldn't go to sleep because he was getting his ass beat. So that nigga had been up from like 4:30 in the morning till like 4:30. So this nigga been up like a whole 24 hours getting this, and he done spent the last like 6 hours in like a CIA interrogation or some shit like in Guantanamo Bay, except for his crackheads and they whooping his ass like right. So then what's real funny is this is the funniest part of the story. He said, man, you know what? They was drinking gin and beer in front of me, and I didn't even have one drop of beer the whole time. I was laughing my ass off. Oh, shit. When he told me that, I was like, you know what I was thinking in my mind? If you had came your dumb ass home, you would have been drunk as fuck. But, you know, I'm kind of glad he didn't come home because he would have started playing them Beatles albums and shit. I was like, I was kind of glad he didn't come home. I was like, man, this nigga done ruined up a party now. Watch this fucking, got this faggot out of our house. Nigga, I was mad to the motherfucker. But like I said, the moral of that story is when bitches tell you they got beer at their house, tell them to come over yours and bring it with you. Yep. That's what you do. Because that's some silly shit.
Better yet, when someone tells you go the fuck home, go the fuck home. All right.
Just go home. Because you could be getting held hostage by crackheads.